Let's learn business statistics. I'm going to discuss the business statistics unit first. And this unit includes the introduction, the meaning and scope, limitations and functions of statistics. So in this lecture, I'm going to discuss with you the unit first of your syllabus business statistics. So this subject is actually a very useful subject for all the business students because the study of this subject helps all the students for their research process when they go to the jobs. They understand the utility of this subject. So let's start this subject. The first unit of statistics, I'm starting it with the first unit, and this first unit starts with the meaning of the statistics. So let's understand the meaning of the statistics. Different authors, the names of two of them I'm mentioning, that is Croxton and Cordon. Croxton and Cordon defined statistics as the science of collection, presentation, analysis, and interpretation of numerical data. So you can understand that statistics is a branch of mathematics, and this science helps in understanding and solving the practical problems. The process of statistics involves the collection of data, the presentation of the data, and after collecting and presenting the data, we go to the analysis of the data. The analysis process of that data is important to draw meaningful conclusions. The second author who defined statistics and has given a definition of statistics is not so much different from the definition of the Croxton and Cordon, but it says that something more is related to the statistics. And what is that? That statistics is not only a science, it is also an art. That yes, it is the process of collecting, presenting, analyzing, and interpreting the numerical data. But how you are doing that, that is the way you are doing that, the art of handling the data, how you are collecting the data, how you are observing the data, how you are analyzing that data, the way you are using the methods of statistics to collect the information from that data, that all is relevant. And that's why it is actually says that it is a science as well as an art. Both the authors have defined themselves the definition of the statistics in a very well manner. And the meaning of the statistics can be understood now as a science which helps you to understand that how the practical life problems can be analyzed by using the statistical tools. So what are these statistical tools? What is the classification of statistics? How this statistics functions? And what is the use of this statistics in different areas? So let's start studying all these things one by one. After the definition of statistics, let's move to the next, that is the functions of statistics and the meaning of statistics. So what is a statistics? Statistics is a science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting the data. So we start from the collecting part, that what we do in the collecting part. When we start analysis of the data, before that, the most important thing which we do is the collection of the data. What information we want to generate, and to whom or to which area that information is related to. So that is too much important before going to any research. So what is a statistics? Statistics is a science which makes you able to collect the data, to analyze the data, to summarize the data, that is converting the complexity to the simplicity. That means you convert the data into simpler form to make your decisions effective. And that is totally being factual, because the data you collected is based on the factual information. And if it is not, then your process is not having any relevant for the decision-making process. So this is a science which actually helps you in making effective decisions. The statistics can be classified, although we will study it in the further slides, that what are the classification of statistics. So I'm just giving you a view regarding the branches of statistics, that what statistics being classified or how it is categorized. So the branches of statistics is descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. What is descriptive and what is inferential? We will study it in detail, but before that, let's study it in one view. That is, descriptive means how you are representing, how you are organizing the data, the display of the data, how you are organizing your data, how you are converting or you are removing the complexity of that data and converting into simpler form. So that all we did under descriptive statistics. And when we talk about inferential statistics, this is that part which is related to the analysis part. As I have already told you, that the process of statistics is the science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting. So the collection and the organizing part comes under the descriptive statistics, how you're arranging, organizing, and summarizing the data, and how you are drawing the conclusions, that is related to the inferential statistics, that how inferences are being drawn or the conclusions are being drawn from the data you have collected, you have organized. So this is the one-line definition of descriptive and inferential statistics, and we will discuss about it in detail in our further lecture or in our further slides. So let's move on to the next, that is the functions of statistics. What are the main functions of statistics? The functions of statistics starts from the first, which we have already discussed. That is the collection of data. What is the meaning of the collection of the data? What kind of data you have collected? From which source you have collected the data? By which method you have collected the data? That's all important before drawing any information from the data you have collected. So the first part, that is collecting or collection, is the first function of statistics. So the first function of statistics tells us that which data you are collecting. So as I'm saying which data, so let's understand what this data classification is. We generally classify the data into two categories. The first is primary data and the second one is secondary data. The primary data is that data which actually being gathered, we can say gathered, we can say collected by the observer itself, by the researcher itself, himself or herself. So that is the primary source of data. And the secondary data is that data which has been already been collected by somebody else. That means it was already been collected by somebody else and we are using that already collected data for our research process, for our analysis. So this is the difference between the primary data and the secondary data. And the point which I said, that the function of statistics is collection of data. So this collection is the most important part or most important function of statistics. The importance of this function is that whatever you have collected is totally related to whatever information you are going to generate. That means your conclusion or your result totally depends on the collected data. That's it. After collecting the data, we start classifying the data. We start classifying the data. So what is this classification means? This classification is that we start classifying, we start categorizing the data. We start categorizing the data, and this categorization is actually based on the similarity and dissimilarity between the data. So what are the similarities between data and what are the dissimilarities between that data actually helps you to understand the classification of data. So we start converting the data from complex form to simpler form. This is the classification. We start classifying the data by converting it from complex to simpler form. And why we do this process, why we convert, why this step is needed? Because to make that data in an understandable form, we can only understand if the data can be converted from complex to simpler form. That will be understandable and can be understood by anyone who read that data, who go through that data. So this is called the classification of data. We grouped that data. After the classification, we start condensing that data. What is this condensation process actually is? Condensation process means when we start the first step, the first function of statistics, that is the collection of the data. At that time, we collect a lot of data. But it is not possible to go through the whole of the data. That whole of the data is useful. So we have to start finding the relevant information, which is actually being needed for us to analyze. So we start shortlisting, or we start summarizing the data. We start taking out the best from the information we are having, whatever information is actually being needed for further analysis. So this is the thing which we have to do after classification of data, the condensation, that is the summarization of the data. The precise form of that data helps you to the statistical analysis in a very well manner. You can easily go through the statistical analysis when you get all the factual information which is actually being related to your analysis. So this condensation is also very important. Before going further, the next is comparison. When we have summarized the data, after that we start exploring the data. We start exploring that what is the relevance, or what is the best relationship. We start checking the homogeneity of the groups. Is there something relevant or something related? Is there any homogeneity of data exist? And if it exists, we start categorizing that. We start comparing that. We start making groups on the basis of the homogeneity of the data. So what actually it helps us, comparison helps you to identify the best possible option. The next is correlation. What correlation actually is? This correlation helps you to understand the relationship between the variables. Always some variables are present which actually affects each other. And the information you are collecting, for example, we have collected the information regarding any product. So we are studying the demand of that product in the market demand. So that can be understood only when you are having the relevant data related to the customers. You are having the information related to the demands of the customer and the desires of the customers regarding that particular product. So you start collecting that data, you start finding out the best possible traits which most of the customers are asking for. So we start identifying the best one and checking for the homogeneity of the groups among the data. So this is the comparison part. Correlation is related to comparison. That's why I enter in that comparison column, because correlation and comparison are correlated, because we try to find the relationship among the variables. Those variables, some variables are independent variables and some are dependent variables. So correlation helps you to identify the relationship among these variables. Causation, the next is causation. This function really helps to identify the impact of independent variable on the dependent variable. And what is this independent variable? This independent variable is that which is not being affected by any other factor or any other variable. And this dependent variable is the one which is being affected by other factors. For example, the production totally depends on the demand in the market. So production is a dependent variable. The next function is chance. Chance means probability. All works on probability. We cannot be 100% sure regarding any decision, but this statistical analysis actually goes through number of hypothesis assumption processes, number of tests. So we try to go to the nearest or the best possible solution for our problems, or we try to make the effective decision for our research process. Whether we are going to take the decision regarding the business or we are talking about the government policies, and so many different areas are there where statistical functions are performed. So statistics helps to make correct decisions under uncertainty, because everything is uncertain. When we are talking about future decisions, everything is uncertain. So to go up to some extent of certainty, we are actually being helped by this science, which we call statistics. So let's start studying the scope of statistics. That is, what are the areas where this science is actually being useful. So let's start with the business. You all are the business students, and we are teaching you the business statistics. So we must have an understanding that how these statistical tools are used in business. So the first thing which I will tell you is number of companies use market analysis, market research reports they use. They go for market analysis. They hire agencies to get the data related to market conditions, customers' choice. They draw that data, they get that data, and after that, they do a lot of research on that data, that whatever changes we need to do in our product, how much demand can be generated in future, how much improvement we need to do in our HR or in our maintenance or in our packaging or in our distribution, in our marketing. So all those decisions which are related to business, how much finance we need for further future decision making. So all that totally depends on your research, how effective your research area is. That totally helps you to make effective business decisions. So you are future managers, you must have a knowledge with how to apply these tools to make effective business decisions. The next is in economics. As this word economics is very big, so you can categorize it as macroeconomics and microeconomics, but it is actually being related with the statistics somewhere. And how it is related with statistics, I will give you a simple example that if the country's government wants to make a report, wants a report regarding the standard of living of particular states, standard of living of people in particular states. So for that purpose, what they will do, what the government will do, they will go for a research regarding the income, regarding the standard of living of the people of those particular states which they have chosen for this research purpose. The second thing is when the government starts planning for future, that means they make future plans, 5-year plans. At that time, they also go for this statistical analysis. They also use a statistical analysis at that time. So this is the use of statistics in economics. Number of uses are there. In economics, we use statistics in a number of ways. The number of statistical tools are used, but that all can be understood after studying it in a very well manner. When you start studying it, when you are having the information regarding all the statistical tools, you will came to know that how they can be applied. The next one is banking sector. Banks also use statistics for generating their policies, for making changes in their policies and plans, their future plans, their policies, whatever the customer needs, whatever, how they have to plan their future, what changes they need to do in future, what changes they need to do at present. That all depends on research analysis. That all depends on the analysis of the data they are having at present and they are having as a secondary data. So that all can be that all is actually being analyzed, researched and analyzed, and after that, the decision-making process becomes easier for banking system or for the banks. The next term is accounting. In accounting, we use statistics because accounting itself is a vast collection of data, and that data is totally factual, because accounting is a science, is that part where we collect the factual information, and all the business decisions are influenced by the information collected under accounting. So this is the area which also use statistical tools to generate effective information or relevant information. The standard of deviation, one of the statistical tools, is applied for project evaluations. And those project evaluations, it actually, all the financial situations or all the things which are the finance department or the accounting department, all are related with the finance or money. And all the information which is collected under accounting is factual, is totally affecting the business of the organization. 1 rupee or a minor change in accounting books can change the whole balance sheet of the company. So this information which is generated from accounting is also being analyzed or tested with the help of statistical tools. So the next is, we can say, administration. In administration, we also go for statistics. How we go for statistics and administration? As we said, administration, this word actually means you are administering people. And for managing the people, we need to know the people. We need to understand the people. We need to know the behavior of that person, those people which we are needed to administer. So in the terms of state administration, the state wants to make policies. The state wants to work for the people, as an administrator. So for that, he need to make some decisions, and that decisions can be effective. That decision can only work if they are based on the factual analysis. And that factual analysis can be done with the help of this statistical science, this science called statistics. So the psychological, you can study under a number of subjects. You will study organization, behavior, psychology, and so many other subjects, and where you will find the use of this statistics as the tests, the psychological tests. Some psychological tests also use simple applications of statistics. So there it's having a wide scope under different areas. The next is astronomy. In astronomy, we also use statistics in a very well-defined manner. The astronomers which use this science for generating the relevant information. And the most important use of statistics is in the research work, as I said. And this research work actually exists in different areas, not only in business, in medicinal. For example, if a company, pharmaceutical companies, they do a lot of research before putting any medicine in the market, before manufacturing any medicines, before manufacturing any vaccine. Government do a lot of research before making any plans, before making any future plans, or before starting any project, a new project or new schemes for the people. So a lot of use of this statistics is in different areas. We can understand it as a useful science to make effective decisions in a real world, the real practical, or the problems which are related with business or the accounting or the banking or the government or whatever the area which needs research can use statistics. Next we go to the limitations of statistics. As we know that everything is having its pros and cons. So statistics also, although the limitations are not too much, it is much more useful comparing to having so many limitations. So the first thing is totally based on numerical facts. Whatever you are collecting, that means whatever the data you are collecting, you have to convert it, you have to collect it in numerical form. The next is sorry, the study of aggregates only. The data which you collect, first of all, you have to summarize that data. And you are taking actually a sample of the whole population. So we cannot say it is having 100% accuracy, but we can go to the 99% accuracy by collecting the factual information. So it is a study of aggregates. Not the only method. This is not the only method. We use a number of methods for taking our business decisions and so many different decisions. The next is homogeneity of data. Before continuing your analysis, the first part of this statistics process is you have to collect the data, you have to organize the data, and you have to classify the data on the basis of the homogeneity of data. So homogeneity of data is actually being needed under it, and which is not always possible and in different circumstances or in different areas. The next is results are true only on an average. A single manipulation of the data. If you have not collected, you have collected 80% factual information and 20% wrong information, that also results in wrong conclusion. So a lot of care is needed to collect the data, and a lot of perfection is needed to classify the data. One of the limitations of this is that the tools of statistics can only be used by experts. Those who are having the knowledge of statistical tools can only apply it to generate the relevant information from the data. It can also be used as that, it can also be taken as the limitation of statistics is misuse of data. That means the information which we have drawn from the data which we have collected, that can be misused. That is a simple manipulation of data. A little bit information is changed. That can change the whole conclusion of the data, the whole conclusion of the research. So the statistics can be misused also. The last is, that is the only means and not a solution. It is only a platform. It is only a process which helps you to take you near to the solution. It is not going to give you an exact solution. It will help you to reach near to the solution. So as we already said, that it works under uncertainty. Okay. In the next video, we will discuss the types of statistics. And as I have already said, that it is under being categorized as descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So we will study the descriptive methods and inferential methods of statistics. Descriptive statistics involves measures of central tendency, measures of variability, as it is related with the part of organizing the data, collection and organization and presentation of data. So this descriptive statistics is actually to describe the data. And inferential statistics is to draw the inference from the data. That's all for this unit for today. And the rest of the units, the rest of the topics we will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.